suck everything in. But to get the most out of your lungs, you need to actually push your belly out to make room for your lungs to go down and expand. So that belly expansion, trying to get your dad bod beer gut going, is going to help your lungs expand down and get that full deep breath. So we're going to do 30 to 45 full breaths like that. So you're going to inhale from 0 to 100, building tension on the inhale. So instead of squeezing all the air out and tension on the exhale, we're going to build tension on the inhale, filling belly, chest, and head. To exhale, you're just going to relax that tension that you just built. So air is going to leave your face, whichever hole works. If you don't have a bunch of boogers, your nose works the best.
If you like frozen yogurt, paninis, adult floats, endless mimosas, 32 Below, Froyo, and more is for you. They're located in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and they got a little something for the whole family. On Saturdays and Sundays, they have endless mimosas. So make sure you go check them out, like them on social media, go to Yelp, give them a great review. They're an amazing business, community-minded, and doing some great things in our community. Welcome to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Croc, and every Monday, I talk to someone here in North Idaho, the goal to connect more people in the Coeur d'Alene area. And then every Friday, I talk to someone outside the community to bring in a new perspective and to learn a little bit about yourself. Okay, I have Jake with me, and I am so excited to chat with this guy. If you do not know him, you need to. The best word to describe Jake would be like therapeutic and calming. I mean, this guy, very easy to chat with. So, first of all, he's a tattooer. He does fitness, breathing guru, a little bit of everything. We'll dive into more what you do. So first of all, Jake, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for having me. This is super duper fun.
Yeah. And so I was just telling him I'm actually in my van this week. And so I'm doing all my podcasts from my van, which is super fun. And I get to talk to my people on the road.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet setup. I mean,
yeah.
As far as everything 2021 goes, it's just like everyone's more connected just differently now. So there's a silver lining.
I agree completely. So Jake, please tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're up to and like what you're doing, a little bit about who you are.
Well, I am a dude and I have been tattooing. In April 1st, I will be tattooing for 9 years at Call of the Wild Tattoo in Coeur d'Alene. And that's been a super rewarding, pretty positive experience. And then just the positions that my body is in while I'm tattooing was leading me down a path that was less than optimal. So that's when I got into fitness very selfishly, and then learned that other people need help just the same way I need help. So I put myself in a position to undergo education so I could actually teach people what I was learning and what I was teaching myself and all my discoveries and stuff like that. So basically all I do revolves around causing discomfort.
That is so spot on.
Yeah. All I do is hurt people, or I convince people to hurt themselves.
I love that. And like the fitness you teach and the fitness that you promote, it's not like CrossFit. It's not go to the gym. It's not go run 20 miles. You do a lot of different unique things. So talk a little bit about, what kind of unique fitness things you do.
Gotcha. Well, most people with like a gym background you could break everything in a gym down to like squat, hinge, push, and pull. But then there's actually like bend and twist. So there's these two additional kind of movement patterns that oftentimes go overlooked. So not that I'm bashing on any of the sagittal movements, which is just straightforward. I want to be able to move and twist. I don't want to just be strong over here. I want to be strong here. I want to be strong in all the positions, just to kind of fill in the gaps. So from more of a holistic standpoint, I like to build strength in the connective tissues and in the connection of the nervous system. And my education, mostly through a branch below Kettlebell Kings called Living.Fit, I've learned how to tap into the 3 major metabolic pathways. So I enjoy training those where it's like endurance, power, and strength, and trying to tap into those systems to get just really scary strong.
Yeah, that's cool. That's actually like a great point. I think a lot of athletes, so if you're not just working out to get fit and have a nice body and do these things,
Hmm.
I say more of functional sports. So, skiing, golfing, those kind of things, that kind of
Hmm.
fitness is so important for. I know when I'm, getting ready for any kind of like sport like those, it's so important to do things that you're not just, like you said,
Hmm.
just one way. I just want to look good and feel good. But then if you're wanting to like prepare for something, it is so important to train in the way that you're talking about.
Exactly. And then it's like injury tends to happen past your normal range of motion. So if you just broaden that and you push those levels of your range of motion out farther and farther and farther, I don't like the word injury prevention, because if we could prevent it, it would just never happen and it would magically go away. But we could like mitigate the effects of injury and just make your body basically harder to kill, whether that's time, bears, scorned women, just disease, everything, just trying to be hard to kill.
I love that. I just want to be hard to kill.
Yeah,
I'm stealing that.
please, please do.
So you live in Coeur d'Alene. So are you from Coeur
Hmm.
d'Alene?
Pretty much. Yeah, like I grew up in Twin Lakes, which is just like a rock's throw away from Coeur d'Alene. It's kind of out more in the sticks, but a short drive.
Right, exactly. So you're local. So what's your
Mhm.
go-to or favorite restaurant in the Coeur d'Alene, North Idaho area?
Oh man, um, it's rough. I feel like there was a time where it seemed like every other weekend there was like a coffee shop opening, and now it's like every other weekend there's a new pizza place opening, and I have to do my part to try every single one of them. I always find myself going back to Pepe Caldo's,
Mm,
because it's just family run. It's super small. It's like mom and pop shop, and I've known them for years. They're super great people.
right.
It's just on Ironwood.
Yeah, I was like, "Where is this?"
Yeah, they used to be right next door to the corner bar, and I lived around the corner from them. So I would literally go like catch a buzz at the corner bar and then go hang out at the pizza place instead of hanging out at the bar, because the pizza place was so much fucking cooler than this like shitty little dive bar. Then and because they were right next door to a bar, they were just open super duper late. So they'd stay open till like 1 or 2 in the morning. So when I was a younger man and less likely to feel the effects of not getting a full night's sleep, then it was a great place. It's like have a cocktail after work, go over, get some pizza, just walk home, and it was a perfect setup. And now they're on Ironwood right now.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea. See, this is why I asked this question. It's selfishly for
Hmm.
myself, so I know other restaurants to try and
Yeah. If you're not into pizza, I really like Paragon Brewing.
mm,
They got Scotch eggs. The Scotch eggs are killer. And anyone locally that's listening to it right now, they just tapped their barrel aged Scotch ale.
mm.
So it's called the Cabernet. I think it's Gaelic. I don't know what it means, but super duper good. And they aged it in Maker's Mark barrels for like a year.
Wow. That sounds delicious.
It's wonderful. I love dark beer.
So outside of your tattooing, your fitness,
Mhm.
are there any other hobbies that you enjoy to do
I,
besides, I guess, being active and anything else that you like to do?
um, just recently I kind of got into like hot yoga
Mm.
because I hate it and it's terrifying. So I was like, I should probably do more of this. I guess that kind of falls within the fitness there, but it's just kind of like I like to play video games. I like to draw like really subtle fan art, like stuff that looks cool for everybody. But if you're a fan of like the show or the game or the series or whatever, then it resonates deeper there. And yeah, I guess it's most of my hobbies have to do with like what I get paid to do. Really, I'm just trying to get money for all my hobbies, is I
Well,
think what I'm doing.
honestly, most people I talk to, I must be just drawn to people that are like obsessed with their careers or like enjoy it. Because I hear so many people are like, well, actually, my hobby is my job because I actually enjoy doing it and like I just get paid for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to get to the point where it's like I love what I do, and it's just trying to build things like that. And since I'm not good at video games and I'm not a super attractive female that's also good at video games, then I'm probably not going to get paid to play video games. So I guess that would be a hobby that
Well,
I'm not getting any financial support from there.
I love it. So your career is you kind of are a little bit all over the place of things that you
Mhm.
love and the things you do to get paid. And always tattoo artists, whenever I meet tattoo people, they always have the best stories and the things that are there anything like life lessons that you've learned along the way that you kind of learned the hard way?
Oh, absolutely. That is my preferred method of learning, actually, is the hard way. Uh, if I don't smash my face into something, it tends not to stick, you
Right.
know? So, but I think like the main thing is to speak up quickly when something is in misalignment. So like don't bear it, just speak it immediately and just be like, "Hey, I think this is fucked up." And then with that kind of clarity, then most of the time it just ends up solving itself like immediately, instead of me like building this resentment towards like a person or a thing or something like that. Then it's like I could just get it out there immediately. And a big thing I learned was like, if I don't tell you, you don't know. So
Mm.
I need to tell you. It's my responsibility to communicate that in a way that doesn't, you know, suck for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a good point in anything in
Hmm.
friendships, relationships. Like you can't read someone's mind. You
Hmm.
have to tell them. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
So you're out there inspiring people and doing some really cool stuff. What inspires you to be your best self?
uh, I actively strive to be the person that I needed when I was younger. So just trying to like reverse engineer and stuff, be like, well, instead of like the classic like man the fuck up trope, you know, then it's like, cool, what would I have actually needed in place of that pretty shitty advice? So
Mm.
just trying to continuously be that person. And I mean, I end up struggling with like imposter syndrome a lot because like let's see, I'll be 30 at the end of February. And I was like, I don't see that as like very old. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my God, 30, it's all downhill from there. But like, no, I'm still going to be a savage into my 40s. Like, I'm super not worried about that. But then at the same time, like, I feel young. It's like, well, what do you know? Kind of deal. I'll tell myself that all the time. And a recent revelation for me was like, I don't have to be at the top of the mountain to tell people how to climb it. I just have to be like a half a step ahead. And I could be like, hey, man, don't grab that branch. That's not stable. Step right here instead and do something like that. So that's helped me kind of show up for, to be like, you know, inspire myself to kind of keep going, where it's just like, oh, there's still all these people in front of me to chase. And there's untold amount of people behind me on the same path to the peak there for the mountain climbers out there.
Oh, I love that. Um, Gosh, I'm just like listening away. I love how you speak and how your education, but you're very just smart and wise. You're over 30. You act in way over your age. And
Like,
30
my
is
back hurts.
yeah, and 30 is just like you're just starting to like get there. Like I don't think I'm in my 30s now, and so it's just
Mm,
I'm like I got so much more stuff to do. Like
yeah.
I think we live in an area that if you're not like married with multiple kids
Hmm.
in your 30s,
Ugh, gross.
you're not doing it right, and you're like, "Wait a second, that's not how I want my path to
Oh
be." And so
yeah.
I think it's just from a small town, you just get
Oh, for
told,
sure.
"Aren't you get married? How many kids do you have? When are you gonna have kids?
Yeah.
When's the next kid
Man,
gonna happen?"
I hate that. Or even just telling people that like I'm not entirely sold on the idea of monogamy and just watching them like foam at the mouth and their nose start to bleed or something. And it's just like I don't agree with the whole prescriptive kind of bullshit. Be like, well, this is what everyone else is doing. And I was like, well, maybe this entire group of people is a little off. It's happened before.
Ex yeah, exactly, and so I think that's really cool about you is that you're not going down the path that everyone thinks that you should.
Mhm.
Makes you, people are probably even more drawn to you because 'cause they're like, "Why isn't he doing this way? I'm kind of intrigued."
Mhm.
Also, in the back of their head, they're like, "I wish I could do that too."
Which is like, I mean, I'm basically a monkey. So if anybody sees me doing anything, it just takes time. Like you could figure it out too. It's like if I'm doing it, there's no Herculean effort. It's just repetition
Yeah,
and time and learning how to just ask for help.
exactly, I love that. So if you had a billboard and you could put anything on this billboard, what would it say or have
Hmm.
on it?
I think it would be pause and see. And if it wasn't that, if it was a billboard, because it's got to be short, because you're probably driving and you got to be safe. I think it would be respond, not react.
Mm.
And just to kind of segue into the cold water dips that we do every Sunday that I do with Ape Movement, who I joined, and we can get into that too. It's just trying to put myself into positions where I'm not reactive is a really big thing. So then I can pause, I can see it, and I could respond, and I don't have to react. Because generally, like somebody comes at me sideways, my first reaction is like "fuck you."
Yep.
Not a very good reaction. My second reaction is like "fuck you" politely, and it's still not good. So then if I'm still, I'm able to see what the third reaction is, which is probably closer to my own truth than the first one or the sugar coated second one.
I love that. That's actually what I was going to segue into the cold water and
Hmm.
the breathing that you do. So could you, and I had actually Josh and Taylor on not too long ago
Hmm.
on my podcast, and we
Yeah.
talked about this. But you bring in a whole different piece into this whole thing. You bring in this like the breathing along, not only like
Hmm.
jump in the water, feel good, feel that reaction, but also the breathing, the technique, and what goes with that mentally as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So with well, I dissolved my business, Intent Fitness Systems, and I joined up with Ape Movement. And if you'd like to know, a little spoiler for you and the listeners is February 1st, Ape Movement is rebranding. It's going to be called the Holistic Ape.
Ooh,
So right now, everybody listening, if it's before February 1st, you can still search Ape Movement on Facebook, on Instagram, and find all of our bright smiling faces there. After February 1st, though, it will be the Holistic Ape. We're going to have a new website. It looks amazing. Josh and Taylor fucking crushed
of
it.
course it is with those guys.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And where I shine is not necessarily where they shine, and vice versa, for sure. So Josh being able to handle the web design and the video editing, which is his actual job, and all of that stuff is just such an awesome thing, being a part of a team like that instead of trying to one man show it and just basically failing at that. So yeah, we started, let's see, last year, Josh and Taylor would join me, and it was just really small groups out in the water. And then this year, it exploded. You know, we started having more and more people show up, and then that put us into a position of not like a position of power, but like kind of a position of authority. So
Mhm.
then I started leading people through my version of the Wim Hof method to kind of prepare for breathing. And it's a way of like hyper oxygenating your body. So technically, you're not hyperventilating, you're increasing the oxygen in your blood and flushing CO2 out of the system. So you do that before the cold water exposure. And then when you're in the water, just breathe, man. However, whichever hole it goes in, make sure it goes in, make sure it comes out, and just stay in there, stay calm. But the whole Wim Hof method style of like breathing is just, it's really awesome for like tell people if you do it in the morning before your cup of coffee, that'll be the best cup of coffee you ever have.
Really?
Yeah, because then you're coming at your caffeine from a place of excess because you're already charged, you're already awake, and you're just ready to party. And then that sweet hot bean water hits your lips, and you're just ready to fucking go.
Yes. I love that. And I mean, it so Jake asked me, he's like, "How about you come and jump the water with us and we'll talk about it on the podcast?" And I was like,
Hmm.
"I'm out of town, or I would have." And I promise you I will. When I am back in town, I will do it because I used to do ice baths after my run,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel like I'd feel like $1,000,000
Hmm.
compared to just like, "Oh, I'm done running. I'm gonna drink my protein shake and I like get ready," and then I'm stiff for 2 days.
Yeah.
I would jump in the water, like sit in the cold bathtub for a while. I would just
Well,
feel so much better.
I could explain why that works if you'd like.
Yes, please do. I was hoping you would say a little more on that.
Awesome. Yeah. So when you're running, you know, especially you're like building up lactic acid, and that's where like the stiffness and the soreness comes from. So when you get into a cold body of water, your body basically goes, shit, we gonna die. So your body intrinsically knows that it can sacrifice your limbs and still survive. So what it does is it starts to squeegee and like pull blood from your fingertips, from your toes, from your extremities, and it starts to draw that in to your chest cavity to insulate your organs. But with that squeeze, with that flush, it's also hitting like your entire lymph system. It's pushing all that blood and stuff out. So you get kind of a reset. So as you get out of the water, your body realizes that it still needs your limbs. It doesn't need to sacrifice them anymore. It basically lets it go. So if you've heard of the Normatec,
Hmm.
is it brand, like the Normatec boots? Basically, the boots do the same thing, just with external pressure. Um, just basically for people that don't know, it's this big boot sock thing that goes all the way up to your hip. You stick your whole leg in there, and it starts at your toes, filling up with air, like a balloon or like one of those blood pressure cuffs, but for
Yep.
your whole leg. And it squeegees all the blood out and holds it like that for a while, and then lets it go again. Normatec boots are fucking expensive. I don't have a pair because I saw that price tag and I was like, nah, dog, not for me. and and yeah, so the cold does it for free. So then when you get all that blood back to your limbs that has been just saturating your lungs and your kidneys and your liver and all that good stuff, you get kind of a reset. So I will crush myself on Saturdays, knowing that I'm going to be in the lake Sunday morning. And then Monday, I don't have to make dad noises when I get up or sit down or do anything like that.
The one when you go, oh yeah, now I'm in my 30s. I do that all the time. I'm like, ooh, yep, I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. Back to the whole prescriptive way of thinking, it's like I just don't subscribe to that train of thought. I want to be able to like go back in time at any point in time and kick my ass.
Mhm. I love
Because
that.
like if I have to convince myself of something, I'm probably not going to listen. So I need to be physically dominant over my previous younger self.
Yep, that's exactly. And I mean, it is 100% true too. And I think I love that it's more than just, okay, we're gonna feel good the rest of the week because you jumped in this cold water, but also the
Hmm.
mental and the breathing with us.
Oh yeah.
You and I chatted about it. If you wouldn't kind of like, so the listeners can hear or watch
Hmm.
how we can maybe do a little example, walk us through something like that.
Oh, through the breath work.
Yeah.
We can absolutely do that. For the listeners, if you are like me and you like to podcast and drive, then please absolutely don't do this.
So either pull
Yeah,
over or wait till you get home.
yeah, yeah. Pull over or just pause and come back to it later. So basically, I want you to think of your body as like a teapot. So you're not short and stout, but a teapot nonetheless. So teapots fill from the bottom up. So that is how we are going to fill when we breathe. So for women, I think it's especially hard because you're taught all of your fucking life from like magazines and media and all that stuff to kind of suck everything in. But to get the most out of your lungs, you need to actually push your belly out to make room for your lungs to go down and expand. So that belly expansion, trying to get your dad bod beer gut going, is going to help your lungs expand down and get that full deep breath. So we're going to do 30 to 45 full breaths like that. So you're going to inhale from 0 to 100, building tension on the inhale. So instead of squeezing all the air out and tension on the exhale, we're going to build tension on the inhale, filling belly, chest, and head. To exhale, you're just going to relax that tension that you just built. So air is going to leave your face, whichever hole works. If you can, if you don't have a bunch of boogers, your nose works the best. It's
Yeah.
better for nitric oxide. I'll get closer to the camera. You could take your fingers and push them into your nose and then peel them back towards your face and kind of push them up a little bit. It's literally like a breathe right strip.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
you could literally force your nostrils open more if you want to get that good inhalation there. So fully in, building tension on the way up, and then just relaxing, letting tension come down. So if you guys are listening to this, you're not watching the video, you're going to fill from 0 to 100, relax, back down to 50 or 60. So the bottom parts of your lungs remain full as we do that 30 to 45 times. That's the first part. The second part is a breath hold. That's the most exciting part. So after we do that 30 to 45 breaths, and I say 30 to 45 because I suck at counting and doing this at the same time, so it's just an approximation. um, you're going to hold your breath on an exhale and see how long you go. For people listening to this, it's not going to be super exciting, but I bet Tabitha $1 that she could hold her breath a hell of a lot longer than she thinks she can, especially when her lungs are empty. So I'll pull up a timer on my phone when we get to that point. And for people watching, I'll just hold it up to the camera so we can see. once you feel like you need to take a breath on your empty lungs, not when you want to take a breath, because you want to take a breath pretty quick, but when you actually need oxygen, take a full breath in back to 100, hold and squeeze for 10 to 15 seconds, then let it go. That's one round. Any questions?
No, I'm excited.
Awesome. So we're going to start kind of slow and then we're going to kind of build it up. As you build it up, think like almost you're trying to suck the birthday candles out. You're not trying to blow them out because you don't want to get Rona on the cake, you know? You don't want to poison everybody at your party.
Yeah.
So find a seated position, nice and comfortable, back supported if you can. That's the best. You could also do this lying down, so you don't have to use any of
I'm gonna
your
lay
erectors
down.
at all. Yeah, bye. So I'm going to start filling in. So belly first. And if it helps too, you can put like left hand on your belly, right hand on your chest, and move your left hand first when you inhale. Fully in, and then let it fall out. Fully in, let it go. Fully in, let it go. So building tension on the inhale, let it go. Fully in, let it go. Fully in, let it go. Tension, tension, tension on the way up. Let it go. Fully in, let it go. Fully in, let it go. All right, find your pace and stick with that pace, drawing it in fully in and letting it go. You may start to salivate. That's totally normal. You may start to feel tingling in your lips, your hands, start to feel lightheaded or anything. That's awesome. Just keep it rolling fully in. Let it go. Fully in. Let it go. Feeling all that internal visceral muscles starting to fucking blow up with those big breaths, big lungs, starting to feel the charge. Colors are getting brighter. Good. Let's keep it up, guys. Fully in. Let it go. We're getting close here. Fully in. Let it go. Let's do 5 more. Fully in. Let it go. I'm gonna get the stopwatch ready. Fully in. Let it go. 2 more. Fully in. Let it go. Fully in. And all the way out. And hold. So stop breathing. Just relax. You can close your eyes if you need to. Just sit. How's your body feel? Do you feel tension? Do you feel light? Do you feel heat? Where do you feel it? If you want to prolong the breath hold, you could swallow. It's kind of a diver trick there. But on full lungs, just going to sit here, chilling. When you're ready to take a breath and you need to take a breath, you can fill all the way back into 100.
I
and
need
then...
some air.
So yeah, that was basically the round. So where did you feel tingly? Did you feel the charge? Did you
Yeah,
start
I felt
getting
my
sweaty
face
pits?
yeah, and my
Yeah.
core started to feel like almost just opening up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so forcing that big inhalation is basically it's like it's an internal massage in a way that's like how like cupping hits differently
Yeah.
than massage does, but it's like I can't fit my hands inside your rib cage without you dying. So it's just like it's a really really good way to kind of reach in there and do that. So you made it just shy of 40 seconds with no air in your lungs.
I feel like that's decent, right?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But that's also now your starting point. So and then you could continue. You could do this over again. So doing this 2 to 3 times is some really powerful shit. Like it's borderline psychedelic because I'll open my eyes up after huffing and puffing like that. I'm like, the fucking colors are brighter. Everything is sharper. Like I'm so awake and just ready to go. So for the listeners, for everybody, doing this when you first wake up to kind of get that charge, and doing it a couple of rounds. The longest I've gone on a breath hold was over 2.5 minutes. And it
Wow.
was 2.5 minutes because I was listening to a song. The band is called 2 Feet, and they have these kind of like short, just bangers of songs. And I like hit play and I started it. And I was just kind of vibing to it. And then the song was over and I gasped. So I was like, oh shit, damn. And it was like, yeah, it was really intense. And like I said, if I can do it, then it's just time and repetition for that.
how many
But
times a day do you do that?
I mean, when I do it, I'll do it about 3 times, and I'll do it just like a couple times a week, and then I'll definitely do it on Sunday to get that charge before I go into the water, and then that really helps mitigate the effects of the cold, and it helps your body switch into a parasympathetic state. So you could use your breath to communicate with your body since it doesn't actually use words. So you could communicate to your body that you're safe, everything is good. Taking those big deep breaths instead of those shallow frantic breaths lets your body know that you're in a safe place.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is that I deal with anxiety really bad, especially this last year has been really heightened for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think and I'm not the only one. I mean, it's just crazy for people going through depression.
It's systemic. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean, this is something great for anybody dealing with that too. I think it makes you stop and really focus on your breath,
Mhm.
not everything else.
Absolutely. And it can be like a drop in the bucket. I'm not saying it will cure anything. And it's like, if you're on medication for anxiety or depression, it's like keep your medication, but you should also be doing things to assist that. So if you're going to fight a war on one front like that, it's going to be really hard to win. But you don't have to read The Art of War to know if you come in from two sides, you're going to have a lot better options going into it. So you could do things like this to elevate your mood. A quicker thing to do, if you are stressed out, because I feel like a lot of your kind of type A, powerful bosses and lady bosses kind of listeners, is I call it the 2x breath. You just exhale twice as long as you inhale. So the math is super easy. You start with like 3 in, 6 out, 4 in, 8 out. When you
Oh,
get into the longer exhalations, you shut your mouth and breathe through your teeth. Sounds kind of weird, like you're hissing almost a little bit, but it's a good way to establish dominance in a room full of people. Then nobody will fuck with you if you do this.
it looks
But
like I'm gonna be growling, not like hissing out.
that's fine. You get it, girl. Get it.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's just like, if a lot of people, like I use like cigarettes as an example, people like, I'm stressed out, I need a cigarette. You could literally have a quote smoke break.
Yeah.
You could step outside. You could take a series of deep inhalations and long exhalations. And you go outside. You don't have to light any sort of like shitty thing on fire. I mean, like I'm pro tobacco, but it's like good tobacco. It's like I'm not going to spark up some fucking camels because I love myself. I'm not going to do that. But you could literally take I'm air quoting right now for people just listening, take a smoke break, go outside,
Love that.
and you could, but you don't need to, put any carcinogens into your body, but just take a fucking breath every once in a while. It's like take a breath and see, what does it feel like? What's your body feel like? Where's your aches? Where's your pain? Where's the love? Where's the heat? Where's the energy at? And that puts you in your body. And then you could tell your body that you're safe, and then you can move forward, kind of bringing it all back to my billboard quote there.
I love that. And like I said before, another question before we kind of wrap up
Yeah.
is people are going through a really tough time right now. Whether they've lost their job, whether
Hmm.
mental, physical, they're going through something. People are putting crap in their body right now because
Hmm.
they're coping with everything. What is a piece of advice you could give to someone listening that's kind of struggling right now?
Um, I think forgiveness of yourself should be instantaneous, because like everybody fucks up, but if you think of yourself as like your son or your daughter, or as your best friend, or as your godson or goddaughter, or nieces or nephews, or whoever you care about more than you perceive you would care about yourself externally, think of yourself that way. So then when you do something that isn't in alignment with your goals to help get you out of the stressful situation, you don't linger on it, and it doesn't become this like downward spiral. So then you could move the fuck on faster. So if you fall off the horse, you just get back on it, and eventually it'll get to the point where you're falling through the air and you don't even touch the ground anymore, you're already back on the horse. So it's just that rapid state of forgiveness, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It gets to the point where it's like you're almost always on the horse, but you don't get to live there. You don't get to stay there. It's like rent is due. It's a very, very short lease, and they want to take the keys from you immediately. So you have to sign that lease over all the fucking time. But just forgive quick. You want to be quick draw McGraw on the forgiveness pistol there on the OK Corral. So I
I
think that would be just the advice without getting into like diet or exercise or what to do, just keeping it in between the ears. just forgive as rapidly as you can so you can move the fuck on, and you're not just gonna beat yourself with these dead horses.
Move the fuck on. I love that. That needs to be a lot of our life mottos, I think, right now because
Hmm.
it's crazy. That's for
Yeah, and
sure.
then just ask for help too. Like, I'm the fucking worst at that, man. I will struggle and struggle and struggle. Then I'll be like, "Hey, man, can you grab the other side of that?" And then it's like, done, over with, on to the next thing. I'm like, fucking silly goose. What
Yep.
a silly goose.
Goose. You silly goose, you.
Right?
Oh, so if someone is listening and they want to connect with you, whether it's, whatever path it is, whether it's tattooing, whether it's
Mhm.
breath work, tell us how to get a hold of you. And then also tell us when and where is this cold water dip?
Oh, yeah. So we'll start backwards, work my way forwards then. So the cold water dip takes place every Sunday morning at the crack of 9 a.m. And it is at Independence Point. We chose Independence Point because that is as close to the water as you could get in your vehicle. So, not virtue signaling or looking for a handout, but I do show up early and I rake a spot on the beach so everyone can throw their towels down and it's not everything's covered in like goose shit. Or sometimes there's like litter. Or this morning, I mean, it was just like branches and pine needles and stuff, just from the wind. So don't let that deter you. I'm basically trying to make the bar for entry so low and eradicate any excuse with that. I lead the breath work, kind of how we just did there on the beach. You go for a dip, you stay in as long as you want to. Minimum effective dose is around like 1 to 2 minutes. Anything after that, and it's kind of your mental game, But um, like I stayed in for 10 minutes today, but it's like this is my fourth season doing it.
Mhm.
So don't compare my step 1,000 to your step one
Yeah.
with that. And then if you want to get in contact with me, like I said, 8 Movement on Facebook, on Instagram until February 1st. Then it will be the Holistic Ape.
I can't wait to see the logo. I hope it's
Oh, it is
doing yoga.
delicious. It is so good. I'll probably slide something. I'll slide a teaser into your DMs after this. It's fucking awesome.
I can't wait. And I love you guys, like the whole team. I'm so glad that you came on board and like are doing stuff with them because they're rad. You're rad.
Yeah.
I think it
Thank you.
makes complete sense. And you guys are just all very like I said before, calming and chill people.
Hmm. We're trying, and it doesn't come without struggle. So if you want to hear about our struggles too, you could ask us and we will tell you exactly where it hurts and when it's hard. For tattooing, I'm at Call of the Wild Tattoo. With the rising prices of gloves and the availability of gloves becoming really scarce, um, I don't take off my gloves to answer the phones anymore because half the time it's not worth it because we don't do walk-ins and we don't do piercings, and that's what most of the phone calls are about. So to anybody out there that wants to reach out to me to tattoos, if I do not respond, keep fucking hammering. Just blow it up. I'm not trying to ignore anybody, but it does get a little overwhelming just trying to play catch up all the time. So I'm not trying to be some hoity-toity douchebag and like be too good for anything. I'm just stressed out.
Yeah, and I don't think of that as you either. Hoity-toity would not be
Yeah.
anywhere in your vocabulary.
They're like, oh, this guy doesn't want to do my tattoo. But like, I do if you want to wait for it because I'm booking into April right now. But it's like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm not trying to overlook anybody. It's just shit's weird now. It's post Rona. And for locals, that is Call of the Wild Tattoo. You just find us on social media. It's pretty straightforward. My personal Instagram, where I like to get kind of weird, is Wolf's Intent. So WOLFS and then intent on the gram. And that's pretty much it.
Yes,
That's
he
me.
does. Go follow him if you're interested in any kind of something that's out of like the norm, out of I'm gonna bring him back on and we are going to discuss one of your other topics, but he talks about anything from drugs to not drugs. I don't want to say drugs, but like psychedelics. It's
So
like,
you can do psychedelic medicine or entheogens.
yes, thank you. Cause I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
to say drugs because that sounds really negative right away.
Yeah.
He does the research and like the information is
Hmm.
amazing. So we'll have to have you back on. I think that's what we need to talk.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I want to talk about stuff that makes your mom blush. I want to talk about stuff that people don't want to talk about. I want to talk about stuff that's a little dirty and kind of exciting and like all of that stuff. I'm about it.
I love it. I thank you so much, Jake. This
Yeah,
has
thank
been
you.
so fun.
That's so great.
Thanks for listening to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I release a podcast about different community members here in North Idaho. And then we end the weeks on Fridays with a podcast about the things I'm passionate about: outdoors, adventures, sports, the van life, and even current events. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Thank you again. Now go be kind and do something great.